My name is Eric Ferris, and welcome to another edition of Political Legion. Today we have with us political advisor and field marshal to the Mid-Missouri Republican Party, Mr. Bobby Afshar. Glad to have you with us today, Bobby.
It's good to be here, Eric. Always a pleasure.
So, there's a lot of turmoil today in the Middle East, especially the historical nation of Iran. Where to begin? There are these ongoing debate over nuclear proliferation, hatred towards America and the Western world, and social inequalities. What do you think the big debate is?
Well, historically speaking, Iran has always been sort of the quagmire of the Middle East. It's the biggest nation there, and it's kind of been talked about as sort of a sleeping giant in many respects. The tendency in foreign policy at this point is to kind of like leave Iran alone. It's kind of sort of an appeasement thing, you know. It's kind of good cop, bad cop. As far as nuclear proliferation goes, recently we've had several other Middle Eastern states get nuclear weapons, like India, Pakistan, and Iran's just the newest on a long list of other countries trying to get them. The biggest problem here is that for many years we've operated on the independent sovereignty of each nation being the basically like dictating term of how the international system works. And so if we choose to give Iran sovereignty as its own nation, then it's kind of hard to say, well, you can't have nuclear weapons. And at the same time, Iran doesn't want to get involved too deeply with the United States in this because they don't want us to come in sort of the same way we did with Iraq. So recently they've been saying that their nuclear weapons, they're going after them domestically for domestic purposes, for like energy, so that they can heat and like have electricity in their homes and stuff. Now the funny part about this is that they're sitting on one of the largest beds of oil in the entire world. So, you know, you kind of lead to the question of why would you possibly need nuclear weapons for your, you know, domestic energy uses. So it's kind of a tense situation, and it seems to be escalating.
Well, now that we've discussed some extremely important issues circling the nuclear proliferation of Iran and slightly touching on their altercations with the Western world, why is it that you believe a nation wholeheartedly has such discernment towards our Western civilization?
That again's a kind of a quagmire. For many years, in the past 100 years, I would say, before probably the past 20, with the escalation into the American hostages back in '79. Before that happened, Iran was very pro-Western. They had a Shah who was very American-looking and Western forward-looking. And actually, it's funny. My aunt was actually she used to live over there, as did much of my family, and it was kind of funny because she was sort of a wild child. And back then, she could wear cut-off jean shorts, a tight, you know, Western American, you know, type T-shirts and stuff. And she
do you
used to ride a
believe
motorcycle.
these surround the social inequalities of Iran?
Well, this is more to the social inequalities. They go hand in hand with the anti-American social inequalities between sort of men and women. Like I said, my aunt used to ride a motorcycle 20 years ago, and if she was over there now, she'd be thrown in jail for probably several years for doing the same thing. So it's kind of touch and go.
I suppose. Well, what do you make of the recent events as far as the hostages of Great Britain by Iran?
That's an excellent topic. For those who don't know, recently 15 British soldiers who were patrolling the Iraqi and Iranian border, the Shatt al-Arab River there, were taken by the Iranian guard. It's led to quite a debate recently. I think a lot of people are quick to look at it and say this is similar to what happened in '79. Like, we don't want Iran going back to this type of stuff, but I think it's kind of played itself out in the past couple of days, and both sides are talking. I think it's kind of cooled down, and Iran is too clear-headed at this point to want to escalate anything, because they're not looking for war, and neither are we at this point.
So, do you believe if they do acquire their nuclear sovereignty, do you think they will become a threat? Just to sum it up.
I think every nation at this point who has a nuclear capabilities is a threat. Right now, I'd probably say Iran's 10 years out from having serious nuclear capabilities. Like, they have several satellite nuclear facilities, but none of them are up and running at this point to where they can be a serious threat to the United States. But
well, Bob, looks like we have to wrap this up. Thanks again for joining us on Political Legion.
My pleasure.
And stay tuned, because coming up right after this is Bobby and Friends. Stay tuned. So, did you catch the game last night?
Yeah.